2, 1, go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 5th community stream. My name is Tiberius. I'll be your host for the evening. I've tried to update the stream for everybody as of this point in time, but we're going to take it as it goes. So, as you can see up, I've listed everybody that will be participating in today's stream. If everybody'd like to say hello.
Hello, I'm Stranger Days, as usual.
Hello, I'm Lucas.
Hey, I'm Duke Salt.
And hello, I'm I Saw Bear, the recurring guest, apparently.
Yeah,
Semi-permanent fixture.
Yeah, we're just gonna
Yeah.
add you into the
You're
line.
just here to replace Sir.
I'm the best table lamp.
Yeah, Sir can't be here this week. He has real life things to attend to, so I guess we're just gonna have to deal with this and do our thing. So, have you guys been doing in the world of Foxhole?
I have not
feels
been
like,
doing much in the world of Foxhole, but that just makes everything that much more amazing when I do finally get to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lots of
it's,
war crimes.
trying to think what the English teacher called it. The rising action to the climax of early access. I feel like everything's built.
Yeah, everybody's getting super excited, super hype.
Definitely.
It's like whenever Paradox announces a new DLC, like you feel like you're playing an inferior version of the game, and it just puts you off of it until the DLC comes out.
True. Also, another thing I've noted is that if you actually just look in the world of Foxhole, now that we've got our new character models, everything clicks a bit better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree. It's got a lot more
It does.
Don't look
yeah.
as bright and cheery.
substance to the
Adds a nice
substance to the
dynamic.
combat,
It
and
really does.
yeah,
Yeah, but so starting off, I guess we're just gonna do a brief overview. A lot of you already know this information, but we're getting close to the release date, which is July 27th. So we just want to make sure that everybody is aware that it is going to be a paid-for game. You're going to get a reduced price, though, at the launch, so if you can, try to do that. Otherwise, I mean, it's only $20, but...
Wait, hold on. People are saying tank or riot, even though the tank was already revealed.
both tanks.
Oh, okay, well, I mean, we can have a riot if we want.
I
A
mean,
reveal coming later on in the show.
There might be.
I personally got a sneak preview at it, but I feel like that's because there were leftover assets that may or may not have supposed to have been there. But that wasn't really a.
Oh, yeah, and the dev
intended-
branch.
We're not supposed
that
to
came out,
talk
like-
about that. Why?
That was an interesting.
I mean-
No.
It was a simple mistake that the
Anybody
devs
who was
had,
in
but
the
they
dev
fixed it.
branch could have seen
Yeah,
it.
well,
Nothing
it's all
happened
confidential. So if we
ever.
say anything, Canadian Special Forces are going to sneak into our houses tonight and slit our throats.
Hey man, JTF2 is nothing
You'll
to laugh
apologize
about.
first.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm Canadian.
Yeah.
Anywho, price.
Yeah,
Yeah.
price,
so honestly, $20, not that much. I've spent just time-wise well over $20 in the game already,
Yeah.
so I'm more than happy to pay that money.
I think I'm close to 500 hours clocked in the game, so
Jesus.
dollar per hour played, I think.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm close to
Currently
500.
at 448, just turned it.
Nice.
Oh, I'm 439.
Oh, damn. There you go. 730. Wow, Knight.
Not
I mean, Knight keeping it up. Look at him go.
Yeah, 730.
Where am I? I'm only at 162, so
Yeah.
to be fair, half my time is spent editing and looking at Foxhole footage, so
Yeah.
we'll double that number.
So, I mean, the photo I just put up is a little out of date, but we had the dev stream already on the 11th. We got the dev blog on the 16th. We're in the middle of our community stream now.
Oh, hey, sorry, but Matt's watching too. He's using his stream account, I think.
Oh, well, hello, Matt. Welcome to the group. Hopefully we don't let you down.
Yeah.
They got the
Hopefully
snipers
you don't
trained.
feel as
No
ashamed.
pressure, no pressure.
Like, hopefully you don't feel more ashamed of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would anyone be ashamed?
Yeah, I know. So we have a little
Okay.
something coming for you guys towards the end of the show. But one of the first things I wanted to do was show off this fantastic new logo that they're going to be using for the game. Sorry, well, I need water. So basically, I like the way that this looks, guys. It's the new banner. It's going to be up there for everybody. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to look at it yet or not, but I feel like it's a brighter tone.
It's at least twice as
Yeah.
interesting as the Call of Duty World War II logo.
Well, it keeps with that same style of the original logo, but just adds more onto it, which is just kind of nice. More details,
Yeah.
more assets. You see the tank
Yeah.
in the background.
Kind of felt like Foxhole might need a little bit of a subtitle, because Foxhole is somewhat generic, so I think that definitely fits too.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And as I was, tank traps reveal, perhaps, maybe.
Tank Traps confirmed,
Maybe a little-
27.
And they did say
Tank traps are riot.
that they want them, like, at some point, they just want to figure out a way to make them not, like, something people can use to grief.
But
Yeah, 'cause
also, soldier in the background, flag carrying, also revealed.
Oh, yeah, and that radio operator.
Yeah, I was just about to point out the radio operator.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Actually, that ties in nicely to the topic that I was rewatching the dev stream earlier today, and I remember hearing something about the enemy tagging with the radio and binos. It was a suggestion that Matt ended up reading off. And Lurkus here has a odd obsession with a backpack radio combo that he...
So it happened once I started playing Day of Infamy.
Yep.
I love being like the officer and then or the radio operator, and it's pretty much like the officer has to be close to the radio operator to actually do stuff. So I thought that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that could happen, but I don't really want to get too much into it because I did make like a
post about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing I saw was the truck stockpile. I don't know what your guys' thoughts on that were, but being able to just stockpile vehicles after they're not being used to stay off the field. I know as a logistics player, and somebody that is in constant need of a truck, no matter what I do, I could just have a field of trucks lined up, and it would be fantastic to have. What do you guys think of that?
Sounds like a great idea. I personally think it should be integrated directly into the existing vehicle factory and just have it like there's like a build menu and also a stockpile menu. So right next to the build menu, there's already a truck here. I'll just grab one, something like that.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna ramble for a while. So.
Okay. Yeah, no, I love the idea as well. It's just a lot more efficient. You don't have to keep trucks out in the open where they're dangerous. You just put them away when you need them later. The only caveat I'll add to that is I think it should be in the same building, but I think there should be kind of like two different entrances, one for like actually building the trucks and then one for storing them and bringing them out, just so there's no like hiccups or traffic jams or anything like that.
Yeah, and to respond to Knight's Cloud 2, I would personally say that it would get destroyed permanently, even if you rebuild it, because that doesn't make much sense. You can, like, a rebuilt house still has all the stuff, That's how I guess. But I actually want to throw in an additional suggestion to that kind of sort of that I saw on the suggestions thing that a couple of us were bouncing around. It seemed like an interesting idea. It plays on how people are saying that, like, after an hour, a truck should automatically be unlocked if it isn't interacted with, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking it would be super cool, and it would really fit in with the theme of the game, is if a truck isn't driven or the inventory isn't accessed successfully anyway, like people coming up and trying it and it's locked, walking away wouldn't do anything. But if it isn't interacted with for an hour, the model actually changes a little bit. Like some of the tires are flat, some vines have grown up, it looks super rusty, so it looks like abandoned, and that would work with, theoretically, would work with any vehicle that gets abandoned like that. And so you wouldn't even need a wrench to unlock it. It would be unlocked. You'd have to have some BMATs or something to repair it, but it would almost encourage people that way to not just let trucks and vehicles sit out there and not be used. It would encourage them to find more productive uses for them, or use a crate if they're just going to sit there for a while.
Yeah, totally. Like, an alternative way of doing that is instead of having it fall into disrepair, just like maybe make the fuel leak out over time, so then you just have to refuel it, kind of thing.
That would be interesting.
Maybe,
yeah.
Find, hey, there's this truck. I need to use it, but I gotta find some fuel first. I don't know.
I think it would honestly be a bit easier to do the BMATs than the fuel. It's easier to find fuel in the, or it's easier to find BMATs in the battlefield than it is to find fuel.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, there could even be some like fuel and supplies left over in the truck from whenever it was abandoned. Like maybe the inventory gets wiped, maybe it doesn't, maybe something in between.
So, one thing I do want to just point out is these are just suggestions that were put forward by the community. They're not actually like things that the devs are working on. They're just ideas being thrown out. So, to people that are posting in the chat about how like, oh, can we do this and that? They're not actual like assets in the game. They're just ideas that we're throwing around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on to things that are actually going to be in the game. What do you guys?
Time
what do
for
you
the
guys?
real stuff.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the storm rifle? I mean, I saw this,
Ooh, yeah.
and I've always been a fan of this model of gun. I can't remember what the actual name is, but
It's like
a
an FG
It looks like a
42. I think I'm
Pullman
wrong.
It's the made by the Germans, correct, in World War II.
Yeah. I got
I
you.
Yeah,
am
it's like a more
interested in it.
simplified version of that rifle.
I am
And
interested in it if
yeah.
for no other reason than we seem to be getting up in Foxhole to the point where you might see a big difference in different groups' playstyle. Like for example, one clan might opt or one group of randoms might opt for cheaper, simpler guns, whereas another group might opt for going into battle with gas masks, binos, full gear, full kit essentially, and rifle grenades.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, and it's like you could almost classify your
Yes.
level of infantry just based on the equipment. Yeah, that's kind of cool. It's like a class system, but without actually making classes or forcing anyone into any pigeonholes or anything.
as well as not only is it going to be used to show things like that, but it is said in like the description kind of that it is a heavy rifle. Like they make it a point in like part of the description for it that is going to be a heavy rifle. So I assume once outfits are added in, things it'll be like a weapon of choice for a heavy soldier wearing a heavy outfit. So they'll walk in, there'll be maybe like uh 3 or 4 normal infantry with them, and they'll just go in and kind of be the spearhead for that group going in. That's how I would see it.
Yeah, essentially like replacing the HMG of the group, because you can just hold down an area.
Oh, and someone is like getting really confused about outfits in the chat. Basically, the outfits are going to be, they're not going to just be fashion things. That's kind of stupid reason just to add them in for that reason. But they're going to be used for they'll give the player buffs and debuffs, not like major ones, but they'll give them some sort of like small advantage by wearing them, like
Yeah. Extra armor or
yeah.
something along those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, these haven't been added in yet. They're just in the process of,
Yeah.
developing them and thinking about them, brainstorming, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm interested to see like how good it is. I personally was holding out for an LMG just because who doesn't want to go Rambo all the time, But I think this will act very interestingly. When the carbine came out, I was really hoping to try and do some small unit tactics like fire team style, because outside of the machine gun, modern small unit tactics involves using semi-automatic fire from carbines to suppress enemies while you advance and stuff like that. Nothing really came of that just because the carbine isn't as good as the rifle in a lot of situations, and that kind of tactic hasn't really been necessary yet. But I'm interested to see what kind of teamwork stuff this is going to open up outside of just giving someone an overpowered as hell weapon to run around and deathmatch with, kind of sort of.
It would be interesting to see sometime in the future, not necessarily now, not necessarily even at early access, but sometime in the maybe even far-flung future, if weapons had a suppression statistic wherein some weapons would allow you to be basically an LMG gunner for your squad and work purely on to suppress enemies and possibly decrease accuracy and reload speed, things of
Well,
that
that's
nature.
almost in the game now because LMGs or HMGs have a higher suppression rate than, say, like the rifle on Foxholes. It's just not applied to
True.
players, which is, I think, what you're getting at.
Yes, applying it to players is exactly what I'm getting at, because it would be interesting to see weapons that are more of a tech focus, wherein, although they might not be as good at purely killing other players, it's about being able to prevent an entire line of charging enemies from being able to shoot effectively.
Yeah.
No,
I kind of want to see
definitely-
something like that done with howitzers in the future too. When they blow up next to the player, it should do something
Concuss
similar.
them.
Yeah, and
Or
maybe your
Yeah.
maybe their screen will maybe get a tiny bit blurry or shake a tiny bit just to give that effect that you're
And,
like
I
you have a
think that
shock.
what they could do
yeah,
is
maybe you would
potentially.
prevent, like if you were in like an in place position, maybe it would like stun you actually, and it would prevent you from firing for a couple seconds and make you very inaccurate for the next 5 seconds or something.
Yeah.
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 Like, there are all sorts of things they could do with player suppression, but that's exploring something else for another time.
Yeah, geez, that's a whole other can of worms. In
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just an interesting thing because it could add a whole nother layer of depth in an update without even adding a new weapon or vehicle or piece of equipment.
No, exactly. Yeah. I could see it like just as this being implemented in the game because it's going to be expensive. It's going to be an expensive weapon to make. Like the impact it may have on the field might not be as impressive at first until we like learn tactics with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like one of the things that I'm looking forward to.
It seems as though the storm rifle's main balancing issues are going to be that you can't really have much else with it equipped, and that probably the ammo is going to be a bit on the expensive end.
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Exactly.
expense and what's it called? Tech
Weight.
2. We've already got 5 tech levels, for goodness sake.
Its weight is also going to be a big issue. A lot of people don't think about weight when it comes to their equipment. I've seen people carry 3 guns into the field.
My favorite's
think
when
with-
I see people run out with like a rifle and a revolver, and I'm like, you don't need both. You only need one.
I think the key like balancing factor when it comes to weight for infantry equipment honestly is basically, can you have this equipment and still carry grenades? Because HE grenades is the main method of advancing ground, right? So if this is heavy enough to where you can only carry 1 or 2 grenades compared to the normal infantryman, a light infantryman might be able to have a rifle, a few clips, and 4 grenades. So that would definitely necessitate some teamwork, because if you're using this to fight enemy infantry and suppress, you're not going to be able to, because it won't be fast enough, you won't have enough inventory space, you won't be able to take out defenses.
Yeah,
True,
and that
but,
just goes down the line of just giving everyone in a squad a job to do,
Yeah, because I mean, with
Something
the
that we're
storm
going
rifle,
to,
you could.
assigning classes, but just by naturally asking, what do we need for this situation?
I know that we've had so many problems in the past when Casper hasn't screamed at us, I want you with a mortar and you with an HMG.
Of course.
Casper says, I want a mortar. 5 people grab mortars. No, only you. Everybody drops the mortars.
You can't
Yeah.
you can't say
You gotta
someone
sp-
grab
yeah,
a
you gotta
gun, because then
specify.
either someone's going to do it or no one's going to do it.
True.
Well, I guess on the note of suppression, the other thing that we're going to be seeing implemented at early access is the field machine gun. I know we did a large spot on this a couple community streams back, but just this is going to change the meta on how we clear defenses on the field.
Yeah, now we have a bit more information on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm also very
Yeah,
interested.
some nice lore.
Go ahead. Okay.
Wait, what?
I was very interested to see its anti-vehicle capabilities, because right now an HMG gunner in a bunker or inside a garrison can drive off everything that is in the game right now. It's really effective. The only thing that can really take him down is artillery. So this is bigger than the HMG. There's 2 of them, and it's going to have some actual protection against getting shot at. So I honestly think that depending on how powerful this is, it might become the preferred anti-vehicle weapon over the RPG, because RPGs are super heavy, they're cumbersome, and they're honestly a lot harder to use than just a straight-up gun.
That was it. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I don't think I've ever carried an RPG since the first week that it came out. It's too much. So yeah.
Yeah,
I only used one in a dev branch actually, just to test out damages. I think on the shy boxes.
they do get fair use, but I think that the field machine gun might end up being a lot, just preferred, Certainly it'll be a lot easier for organized teams to make use of it, since it's a 2-man deal, right? But I think that might be okay, because unlike the RPG, the field machine gun's going to whittle down health instead of just take it off in chunks, right? And also,
Yeah.
because it's a crew served like stationary, semi-stationary weapon you have to wheel around. I think the mobility and agility trade-offs would make pretty good anti-vehicle capabilities bearable.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
a fair point.
Be a
I'm
good
wondering how these
defensive
things will.
item.
I'm wondering how these things will stand up to gun nests, and if gun nests will be able to just chuck grenades behind the shield. You know.
What I'm seeing
I feel
is
like you'll
these
be able
things would
to.
get horribly ruined by rifle grenades or possibly howitzers.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because you do have to bring this to the front, unlike artillery.
Yeah.
We need to
Good
do a
point.
little bit on rifle grenades, and maybe we can just throw it in there somewhere because those rifle grenades, man.
Yeah, no, they're terrifying. I'm not sure how many of you guys participated in the conquest, or it was the campaign.
I
At
think my KD shot up by ×2 once I started using the rifle grenade.
Endless Shores at Volpine was rather interesting. I have an image here that I'll be putting up in a moment. If you guys want to start talking about your experiences on that map, that would be.
Yeah, I honestly am surprised that no one has started calling people who use these noob tubers yet, because it's basically the
×4.
same deal at this point.
I mean, at the same time, though, the sheer rate with which people are supposed to die in Foxhole, it's not really noob tubing. This is a tactical game. We don't berate players for using weapons here.
I mean, I don't know, man. I picked up a rifle grenade on Umbral Wildwoods for the first time against other players, not just testing it out, and I immediately got like 8 kills within a 5-minute period, or within 30 seconds. Like it was crazy.
Yeah,
I think. Like, I don't dislike the weapon, but I think the range might give it a bit too much of an advantage.
I can't hate it because it is such a cool weapon and it gives a lot of flexibility to soldiers who are equipped with it, and I think it really expands like what infantry are able to do to fight other infantry. It's a whole other dimension, and frankly, like, people need to learn how to space out. And if they need to learn how to space out by getting killed by rifle grenades over and over again, fine, they learn it the hard way. But I think that either like maybe a slight range decrease or using like an azimuth and a distance marker as though it were a mortar.
Nope.
You know, and that sounds lame, and it kind of is, but I mean,
Slow projectile speed, if that's the case.
Maybe a louder sound of being fired would help too.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to think in like the historical viewpoint of this gun, like when it was actually used, like you weren't running around just shooting this as you were walking. You had to actually stop because the recoil from the gas was pretty intense. So like you needed to post up and actually fire this. I wouldn't say almost like a mortar, but like the angle that you shot up was relatively high. So I mean, if it gets to the point where it's like too overpowered because people are just spamming it, they could definitely do the azimuth, or just make it so you can't move when you're shooting. Like when you're aiming it.
Like go into a mortar mode almost kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I guess another way to somewhat reduce its effectiveness is just give a louder audio cue when the grenade lands, because I mean that grenade's falling from pretty high up, so you'd probably hear it a bit more. That might help players not die to it as often.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty.
Right, next topic, what do we got?
Next topic, what do we got? Well, I mean, I don't have any of the images load. Oh, you're saying?
Oh, I just wanted to mention one more thing about the field machine gun, and before we move on to the next topic, I just wanted to think an idea of what we can maybe expect from it, and because I know in the past we've talked about maybe it being pushable while you're firing it, but it seems like it's leaning more towards you'll only be able to fire it while it's stationary. But I think that once that maybe if they do decide on adding the ability to push it while it's firing, that maybe its accuracy should be decrease while it's moving, but while it's stationary, it's got the average accuracy it would have. Not sure what you guys would think about that.
Well, one of the things Mark said during the dev stream was that it's going to be overpowered when it's implemented in the game. Like, I mean, I'm not sure if that's what he thinks is actually going to be the case because of the player base, but if they're wanting to throw this things out to beat all the stops, to be this overpowered thing that they can tune back and like work with over the course of the early access, then I could see it being accurate when moving. I could see it firing, doing all of the things we're fearful of it being able to do. It's most likely going to be able to do. Like somebody mentioned in the chat earlier, being able to shoot a tank. Like, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if this thing could punch a hole through the Colonial tank because it has less armor.
Probably.
Yeah, just
Maybe not like a ton of damage, but I'm pretty sure over time it'd be able to destroy it.
yeah, I could see it being like something where if a tank driver sees it, they're like, all right, maybe I should pull back just a little bit and let my gunner take a shot. But I mean, I don't know. That's really up to how that works. Next, just a quick discussion on the last patch. What do you guys think of the new map? It's very small, only 30v30. I honestly enjoy it. It's a good way to like introduce new players to the game. I've had a couple friends come online and I'm just like, hey, here, let's go on this map. And just, it's very small, has everything close together.
Yeah, I feel like like you said, it's a good map to kind of get yourself familiarized with the game. But I wish people would use it more though, because it just seems kind of barren for the most part, and it also seems like an interesting map to play on as well. But and also someone said by Umbral, but I'm assuming you mean because that map isn't really played on a lot. But like I feel like those maps need something to get more people to play on them. But as they are right now, they're pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool assets that are used in that map that I know are going to work their way over to the older maps and at some point, but there's a lot of cool just like farms and orchards and stuff. The towns are a little bit more built up, and there's also a lot of terrain variability, which I think some of the are lacking in. Some of them are totally fine with them, but yeah, there's a lot of.
It is pretty.
Yeah.
It's definitely pretty.
It's good to see that like,
Um,
the amount of time that the devs put into designing this map is like to see the capabilities and see what their end vision is like, because the map's small, so they're able to put a lot of time into making the assets and like designing it the way they wanted it to look. So like as the game progresses, it's good to see that like maps are going to start becoming these like lived in like just very beautiful places to like fight.
Another thing to note about it, it might have just had a low population because of how intense the campaign fight was. From what I understand, it was a very large amount of constant conflict.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Stop.
So
Quick,
yeah, sorry
I guess.
about this, guys. Just things are crazy over here.
My internet's
So,
stuttering a bit, so I might sound like a robot in a second.
oh, well, that's not
Oh,
good.
no.
Yeah, so we're experiencing technical difficulties from from Duke. So
Just keep going. I'll be fine. I'll live.
yeah, we'll fight on. It's okay. We'll survive.
Can't
without
me.
So,
Earn this.
for everybody that was in love with the shotgun, and then had their hearts broken when it was nerfed, and then like had their hope reinstalled when the shotgun got buffed again, yeah, you're probably depressed again because they nerfed it. It was a god weapon. I
So
I experienced several times getting obliterated by this thing from across the bridge. So it's
I had so much fun with it, but I hated it when other people were using it against me. It's like that. I'm pretty sure everybody felt like that when using the shotgun.
yeah, exactly. So on the next thing down, you were saying?
oh yeah.
Oh.
When people
you're-
were using the overpowered shotgun.
I think you're cutting out a bit.
Yeah, we're having the technical difficulty. All right, so just to breeze through it, we have so the shotgun buff and nerf, the reprimand. So I like this implementation because like if you saw a player doing just things you weren't happy with, reprimanding them, like you could potentially get shit on by people because of the fact that you reprimanded that person. And if they were in a clan or in a large group, like it could potentially backfire by vote kicks. I mean, that's not as much of a problem now as it was before, but it's good to see that that's changing. In that respects, I'm not sure what your guys' viewpoints on it are, but
Like on the shotgun and or wait, the reprimand system.
the
right?
reprimand
Oh, okay.
system, yeah.
Generally speaking, as a member of Edge, I know who reprimanded me. It's another member of Edge. So it's all good.
Well, one of the things to remember too is it shows you who reprimanded you, but the public can't see it. So, like like the person that reprimands you is like you know who they are, but as everybody else is looking at it, they just see that you got reprimanded. Another thing too that I saw that was it's not so much like a huge problem, but just like a tiny game tweak was the player invulnerability that was experienced when standing inside of a scrap node or a sulfur node. That got taken away.
That saddens me.
Yeah, I believe it saddened a lot of people. I mean,
Actually, oh sorry.
no, go ahead.
Or, I actually remember once when that was still in the game. Once it was on Endless Shore, and we were getting attacked in one town, and the wardens were like ambushing our supply lines, and so I was trying to get back to where they destroyed our truck, and two of them came up on me while I was nearby a scrap field, and so I was like, oh well, I only have a pistol, so I'm gonna go hide in this salvage node. So that's what I did, and they were both like trying to shoot at me, and so while they were reloading, I'd like pop out, and then I'd shoot one of them, and I pop back in. I ended like the end of story though, but I was able to like kill both of them somehow, and I was like, this is it needed to be fixed at that time, but good thing it is fixed now. Even though it was fun using it, I'm glad it's fixed now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On
it
the
was getting
plus
to the
side, I
point where it was getting like reliably every time we threw a scrap pile by whatever force was on the other side. Nobody was really particularly noble as far as not exploiting it goes, but
Yeah, it would essentially become a fight for the scrap node, because whoever
On the
had that
plus
had
side
the
now,
whole-
that means we're able to put foxholes and stuff inside of scrap fields, and they're no longer blocked by the scrap, which means that scrappers now have a new way to defend themselves. Warcraft 3 peon burrow style.
That's good. Yeah, no.
Warcraft 3, there were worker units there. The dwelling structure that you could build, the worker units could hop inside the dwelling and shoot at enemies.
I don't know
It
how
was-
far up your glasses just went on your nose, but I am impressed.
They are currently residing within my eyeballs.
they're on my forehead because they went so far up.
All right,
Actually,
guys, is it time
yeah.
for the big reveal now?
yeah. I mean, one more thing would be the player profiles, but I mean,
Players
yeah.
can come afterwards.
yeah, they
The
can
the
come
player
afterwards.
profiles they're
They're-
pretty cool so
They're
far
pretty
right
cool,
now.
Yeah, I mean, the simple
Yes,
fact that
you got
like,
the examples up on screen, right?
yeah, just threw them up on the screen. I grabbed a screenshot from the dev branch.
They're in a pretty basic form, but they still look pretty cool. And I guess people, depending on their their level, when they join the pre-alpha, everybody will be getting a little medal that they can use, that they can have on their player profile. So that's pretty cool.
Ooh, goody.
Yeah.
depending on what level you are, I think I'm just assuming. Depending on what level you are, you'll get a different class of medal to reflect how much you played in the pre-alpha.
Oh, that's actually really cool. I like that.
You can also see in the lineup of pictures that the Heavy and the Pyro from Team Fortress 2 make their appearance in Foxhole.
Oh yeah,
is
Casper.
really
I
cool.
know that. I know that, Casper, but they're still working on I guess the art for it.
Yeah. Alrighty. I don't know if somebody wants to do a drum roll. Probably not. It's gonna be really loud over the stream.
Get ready to pick your jaws up off the floor, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
I know this is gonna be like a huge thing. We we were terrified and extremely happy about this, but welcome the newest vehicle that will be implemented into the game come early access. Basically, you're looking at
Oh boy.
an amphibious armor personnel carrier. It is going to be an 8-player capacity, lightly armored vehicle that is able to
8-player, including the crew. So
yeah,
they'll be able
eight
to
in total.
carry 6 people in the back.
Yep. And it'll be able to
Truck,
go
right?
across all of the water, every water. Just
Deep water. Yeah.
if there's
Yeah,
water,
so
you
this will
can go
be
through it.
a
So
game changer
sexy.
in
It is a feature
endless.
that they have planned. They don't currently have the water movement implemented, from what I remember of the conversation, but it is definitely on the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so a couple of
So,
things. It's going to be hopefully around the speed of a half track. May slow down in the water. And it's also going to be similar to more of a truck than like an armored weapon vehicle. So there'll be some space for you to store items in it.
Limited space.
Yeah, limited space, but there will be space to hold some things outside of gas. Duke, if you want to go away, I
D-Day
know
hype.
you've been freaking out.
And we did get some questions answered about it before, prior to this. And
Yeah.
so I guess if we want to, like, kind of say those questions and then say the answers to them that we got.
Yeah, we can kind of run through it. But like the first thing I asked was, can people shoot out of it? And that's not locked down. So don't know. Certainly looks like he'll be able to get shot out of it. So hopefully you duck.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there will be, like, Warden and Colonial variations, obviously.
Not planned.
Yeah, not, at least in the future, they're possible. Because I myself hope that the vehicles get, like, faction-specific, like, looks, so then it's easier to tell what that vehicle belongs to, instead of just being like, oh, look, there's a truck. And then you're like, oh no, it's an enemy truck, and they're about to run me over.
Faction-specific vehicles are going to really change artillery. Also, I just thought of an amazing cinematic effect. Can you imagine trying to shoot these things out of the water with artillery?
Oh my god.
That's
I
gonna
mean,
be
like,
awesome.
guys, we're gonna have a D-Day on
Dude,
the early
stop.
access drop. Like, it's gonna happen.
Oh shit, we should definitely
Amphibious and
have
worst kind of
containers
assault.
over, go to a community festival page and start doing some ideas, because a D-Day plan, that sounds good.
So
Endless shore.
yeah, so
Yeah, Endless Shore is just gonna
the
change
biggest thing that
entirely.
I was thinking about, I'm sure most of y'all are thinking about as well, is, oh god, now I have to make giant like fortresses all along all the coastline. I don't think that's really going to end up happening. Like, if this was before the CV,
You're cutting out.
Yeah.
Again.
river, screw behind the enemy lines, but you can't do that anymore. I see, if anything, people putting outposts on the shoreline and ferrying people across in this to it.
Oh no.
Oh, it's
Duke-
so.
He's
Duke is
dying.
dead.
No!
Oh no.
Yeah, before he continues on this, I wanted to bring up another topic. A lot of people, I see some people in the chat saying that they think that it'll only be useful on in the shore, and that's not really true, because it's not just an amphibious vehicle. It's not just a water vehicle. You can use it on the land. So instead of risking trucks being destroyed by transporting troops to the front, you can use this to do that instead, and it's supposed to be a lot stronger as well. So you won't really have to worry about losing them as much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
did we get I forgot the questions already, my bad, but did we
I've
get
got 'em
a
up right
confirmation
now.
on what the inventory size is on this thing?
It's gonna be moderate. It's probably gonna be between the half track and the truck, which is a lot. So, I mean, don't quote me on it. A lot of it's going to be revealed as we get closer to the early access release
This,
date.
the APC
Yeah.
was an example of what I was talking about earlier when I was saying that we'll start to see different levels of equipment usage for different groups of players. For example, a group of heavily armed, heavily armored players might opt for the APC and be fighting on foot with storm rifles and just pull grenades out of the APC when they need it.
Am I alive?
Exactly.
Did I die?
Hey, you're
You're
back.
you're
Yeah,
alive
I
now.
think so.
Welcome back.
Good job.
I think he
Oh,
died
yeah,
again.
and definitely there
Yeah,
are all
no.
sorts of maps this is useful on. Abandoned Ward, for example, is now no longer a perfectly defensible island. We're not going to have an endless stalemate on Endless Shore.
Yeah, no, this thing is
Across the
gonna.
entirety of the Deadlands, we're going to be able to push assaults, but we're still going to need bridges for construction vehicles.
Yeah. Be
Sneaky
like engineer
backcaps.
suicide 101.
Sneaky backcaps on Umbral Wildwoods. I could imagine going across the water and attacking Thunderfoot Ranch. Is it Thunderfoot Ranch? Or no, it's Golden Root Ranch. Something like that.
It's Thunderfoot.
Sounds about right.
Thunderfoot.
But yeah, I cannot wait to see all the people who build these things on Upper Heartlands, because yeah, useful there, right?
I mean, it's
I
still
mean,
useful because
again,
it has
yeah.
a decent
Yeah, no,
amount
fair
of
enough.
health. And it sounds like it's going to be faster than a construction vehicle, so you could like storm onto the front lines, everybody piles out before it gets destroyed, and then you use its wreckage as cover for a moment while you set up sandbags, things like that.
Dive again.
Yeah. You were fine, and then you left, and
I
then you came
I
back,
think
and
you're
you're a
good,
robot.
Duke.
Yeah.
The what the heck was it? We were talking. I remember talking a long time ago about if the half track had more space in it, about like driving through enemy defenses. It only had to hold together through like up to the gate. And then a whole bunch of heavily armored shock troops get out with satchels below the gate and rush inside and like start taking out tunnel networks. That sounds
man.
doable. There's 8 slots in here, 8. So if like everyone disembarks and they abandon it because it'll probably be on
Fire.
it's doable.
That's a lot of people to be in one spot, though. I mean, it's going to be a good tactic. I can definitely see the shock trooper working, but I mean, high risk, high reward. You fucking lose one of these things when it's full of people. That's a lot of guys dead.
Yeah, and a lot of
True,
equipment to
but
the enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
If it does have a half-track health
Really-
bar, that means you can survive 2 rockets and still be moving. You can survive 1 rocket, keep moving. The second rocket will put you into a burning state. The third rocket will take you out. But if they're able to hit you with 3 rockets in succession, then you sort of deserve to have all 8 of your people die.
Forget that's before they had the system that they're going to start using, where there's damage. Damage you take is dependent on where the damage is taken from. So the sides might, which is very likely,
Or the
True.
tracks.
Yeah.
It could possibly take reduced damage from direct front, in which case this will be a really excellent sort of quick assault vehicle.
Yeah, it's definitely got like a thicker armor, and the lower Glacius and like just front look like they could take a shot really well.
Well, that's another
Yeah.
thing to note, is just rockets are so much more expensive now because of sulfur, so...
Well, I mean, not since the
Maybe.
most recent. I mean, when I was in the campaign, like I noticed that sulfur was spawning at an increased rate. Which, speaking of which, Lodge, you guys, hype train out there, because we've got a few things to talk about with the most recent patch notes down the road. But with this, there were a couple things that Duke had actually asked Mark, and it was mainly going over whether or not there'll be like a difference in the variant between Warden and Colonial, which possibly in the future could be a thing. A lot of these answers are just probably or possibly.
Or they were thinking about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm assuming
Am I-
right now its
am I allowed-
state is that they have the model, they have like the general idea, they just need to like iron it out.
Yep. It was interesting.
Oh, can the wardens get a mailbox on ours this time too?
An actual mailbox.
We need
Actually,
another mailbox.
deliver those mails.
No, just like some pigeon cages. Wardens don't trust radios, so instead we deliver all messages by carrier pigeon. Yes.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. 1 second, I gotta do something.
Completely blindsided.
Box APC match up with our mailbox tank, and we're all good to go. Just
And
for
I also
anybody-
see this work. Oh, were you gonna say
Am I
something?
alive again?
Yeah, I was just saying, like,
Yes.
I just took all of the additives that I had on there for everybody who wants to grab screenshots of this. So I'll leave that up for a few minutes.
I just wanted to throw in a few quick things before I die again. I saw someone ask if there's going to be swimming. Maybe. I asked if there was going to be some sort of expanded mechanic in regards to swimming to support this? And the answer was maybe. So that's better than no. Also, just thinking about this, for those of you who have talked about this a whole bunch, off-road logistics, limited, but off-road logistics, that opens up a whole bunch of possibilities.
Yeah, because if this thing can move as fast as a half track can off of the road, that's gonna speed things up a lot. Because, yeah.
So I can also see this. I think your stranger. Before we started up the stream and everything, we were like having a small discussion about this, and I think it was you or somebody else that was saying that this could be can work in a mechanized kind of like a mechanized
Yes,
vehicle,
you
like
could use this in
with tanks as
combination
well.
with tanks in order to break through more easily. As it is, tanks would probably be at least a little bit faster than foot troops, so it'll be hard to have both tanks and troops on the ground. At the same time, though, you probably do want foot troops because there are several weapons you can't use driving a tank. With this vehicle, we now can bridge the gap. We could also probably
Plus
carry
you
extra
always-
fuel or weapons.
It's gonna be terrifying
you
to
always
see a
need
frag
the,
grenade go into the back of this thing, though.
That's gonna be great.
I will smile.
Yeah, it would be fun to see, but I just, God, the possibilities are endless, guys.
Was posted a while ago about that one person throwing a grenade into a chapel or a church or a medical facility full of people.
Ah, yes, that was
Basically
Oh,
that.
Oh, that's intense.
A bunch of people screaming and then immediately cut off by the explosion.
I think it was
Yeah.
like the 501st, Edge, and then I don't remember who else was there.
It was,
Yeah, it was-
one of Stalt's videos, I think.
It was a fantastic display of physics in game.
Yes.
I asked about the crew. He said that there are going to be 2 crew members, which is part of the 8 total. And I'm hoping, by the way that the hatches look, that at least one of the crew members will be able to pop out and use binoculars, which is just a nice feature to have, even if it's not like super duper necessary for the APC like it would be the tank.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can see the artillery that's going to destroy your APC as you're attempting to land.
You're like, is the beach clear?
No.
700
Oh, yeah, that
AT
might be
guns
important,
lined up
Chief.
from Sethfire.
Yeah.
So it's like, you like my work? They can't come across this coast.
Do we have any more stuff to talk about regards to the landing APC?
No.
If
apart-
we do indeed get to shoot out of the APC, I look forward to being able to do sort of mobile mortar crews makeshift.
God, I don't know if they would allow that. That would be kind of
Eh.
terrifying.
Well,
I mean, it was something that was used heavily in World War II.
No,
Yeah, I mean,
no, I get that.
mortar crews are basically mobile already, so it wouldn't be like a huge. It's just slight speed buff, right?
Yes,
Or
but the
boost.
biggest difference is the amount of mortar shells you'd be able to hold, as well as you could have 2, 3, hell, maybe even 6 mortarmen in the back of this thing.
I'd say only one,
God.
just to
Yeah.
not make it overpowered.
I mean,
Because
Yeah.
even if they were to limit the amount of people that could sit in the truck and fire it, I'm guessing that's what you're saying. Like 6 guys jump out with mortars and just post up next to this thing or behind it if it's parked sideways. Like, the battle applications of this thing being introduced to the game just like immensely opens the field
True.
for new meta. Like, just simply being able to avoid going into a bridge combat situation by going across the water, even though it could potentially be like going into Normandy with the way that the bunkers or walls or anything is set up. Like, it just, the mentality of go to this bridge, like say on a map like Endless Shore, where like Kelpies or Durgs or what's the bridge that goes to Volpine?
Barrows.
Crown.
Yeah, Barrows
Crown. It's just like avoiding those situations as a whole will
Here's
like lower the death count, I'm guessing.
Now, here's something I'm going to need a lot of community members' help with to test in game. But if a bridge is destroyed, could we just sink a bunch of APCs into the water and use them as a bridge instead?
Yes.
And also,
Oh my god,
the
I'd love to see
APC is
that.
the only vehicle that can
The line is
survive a
defeated.
bridge being destroyed from under it. So,
True.
So
Another
this is
thing
what
to
they
think
meant by
about
bridge
is
laying vehicles.
If they did want
we don't lay
to,
the bridge, we are the bridge.
If they did want to sort of limit the amount of ridiculousness you could pull off with being able to shoot weapons from the inside of the APC, you could possibly have it so that way the first 2 players to hop into the back of the APC are able to use their guns. Everybody else sort of sits in there.
It's not a
Yeah,
bad
that
idea. They
could
could be
work.
like right behind that little driver's little area, like stepping up on 1 foot or something.
Yeah,
Cool
just
if they
peeking
could-
over. Yeah.
If they could
So
set
then
up
you
like
could-
an HMG there too.
Yeah, you could set up an HMG there and have sort of a budget half track or a budget mortar truck or a budget RPG tank.
Maybe just like SMGs though, or rifles, because
Primaries
putting an
that aren't
HMG.
HMGs.
Yeah.
And mortars.
Yeah.
I
Small
mean-
arms.
But imagine using mortars from the back of these things to clear the beach landing.
That does sound incredible, especially if you could use binoculars from like the co-driver's hatch.
And if motors
Yes.
got smoke rounds.
Mortars getting smoke rounds is something that I actually look forward to, and I just realized that with the implementation of of the ability to change fire types, we may actually see it in the near
Oh.
future. Gas rounds, incendiaries, smoke.
I think the HE grenades are going to be. Don't say different grenade types for the grenade launcher because it's just HEs everywhere constantly.
I think they've already said HE isn't going to be.
It's not.
Oh,
it's
okay.
not. Just
Gotcha.
I think they're just bringing over smoke and gas at some point.
Okay, yeah. Well, then that's fine. But yeah, so the image that is inside of the APC right now is going to be everybody that
Someone needs to edit that, put like a warden helmet on it or something.
yeah.
Or
Someone needs to
that-
edit that and just put blood buckets in the back.
Here, let me take that off, and you guys can screen grab that and just make it look pretty. But I think that's
gas shells for field artillery. We don't know if gas shells are coming for field artillery, but
I
I
hope
hope
so.
that they do.
that'd be cool. Smoke
mean-
for artillery would be good too.
We need to violate all the war crimes. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've already got
If-
trench guns and gas. Come on.
If we're talking about the usefulness of gas rounds for the field artillery, I'd say that the area that Green Ash covers already is wide enough. Instead, I'd like more persistent gas.
Ooh,
I'm down for that because gas.
so it's more of an
I
area.
mean, it's
than not.
persistent enough,
Yeah.
but yeah, it could
Yeah.
be.
Be cool if
Because, like, can you imagine, for example, peppering a town with with gas before you launch an assault in order to sort of stall out the invaders, so that way they can't reach their defensive position.
Yeah,
Not
I mean, if you did it persistently enough, you could basically just make entire sections of the town dead because too much gas, and then you rush in while they're still trying to get back to their defenses and stuff.
Upgraded. I feel like if that was implemented, though, they'd have to sort of balance it out for the attackers a little bit, just so it's not just like, okay, pepper it all with gas shells and then just go in and shotgun everyone. It's just like maybe put some vision limitations on the gas mask. I don't know, because it feels like
well,
Well,
as
that's
a quick
always
side
the
note,
thing,
actually.
right? Is that you can spend a
Yeah.
whole bunch of materials and you can spend a whole bunch of time preparing a really cool gas attack, but if they have gas masks, who cares? That's always the risk,
Yeah.
I guess.
On the note of the gas mask, though, something I forgot to mention or bring up was the technology levels in the weapons manufacturing plant and the workshop. They've been increased. So the workshop went up to a level 4, and the weapons manufacturing plant went up to a level 5. Gas masks got removed from tier 1, and they got pushed to tier 4. So
Ooh.
you have to
I
go
guess, yeah, that's fair
all
enough.
the way to
Well-
get the howitzer shells and the Howie to get the gas mask. But
Oof.
as an equal trade-off, the gas grenades, Green Ash, have been increased to level 5 in the weapons manufacturing plant. So,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's not like they were like, well, here, gas grenades are going to be level 3 and then gas masks are going to be level 4 because, like, when I experienced that, that's what I was terrified of. But, I mean, it slowed down because like people hadn't understood the way that the technology levels had been implemented into the game at the point that I was playing. So they were like, well, we got it to level 3, we don't need to go anywhere. And then they were getting peppered with gas grenades and they're like, where are our gas masks? Well, they had taken all of the tech parts to the vehicle factory and not realized that the amount of time it took to do that, they could have had gas masks in 3 different workshops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like kind of spreading everything out because it makes it so that like as soon as you retake a town and rebuild it, there's still some more you have to develop an infrastructure in order to be able to use that town at its full possibilities, right? Like, it takes a while to build it up, kind of, sort of. And I think it almost forces some more weapon diversity as well early in the game because you can only get rifles and SMGs barely.
Yep. Exactly.
Oh yeah, HMGs are level 4, which makes me cry, but I understand.
But actually seeing a lot more people utilize those on the field. It's funny too because they got bumped up, and then like I just saw a lot of people running around with them. But all right. Unless anybody else has anything to add or any questions about the APC that we might be able to answer, I'm probably going to push on to the next subject, which is the most recent development branch, 0.034. It's gonna make the logistics people happy, I guess. It makes me happy.
Yes, Lord.
Yes, please.
Clapfoot be praised. Logistics is finally seeing love after like 20 patches.
I mean,
It's an interesting solution to the whole "it's boring as hell to mine scrap" solution or problem, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not sure how the meta's gonna change. Like a lot of the stuff is just gonna change. Granted, it's an experimental test, but like you read off the first two things and you're like, oh, gathering speed increased by 300%. That's crazy. And then
At the same time, though, it doesn't necessarily change too much of the sulfur woes, so it mostly just empowers our scrap mining, which as it was, there were way too many things to build, so...
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, as it is, I don't think sulfur was an issue this last campaign. After they did the increase, they increased it. I can't remember what the number was. It was like 200%, right, for the spawn rate. Not of itself, but like the time it took for the nodes to come back. But the scrap nodes for gathering basic materials having been increased to 100 instead of 14. I think that's supposed to say 18? I'm not sure. But the trade-off with that is the scrap node respawns are now increased to 5 minutes. So instead of just being able to walk around a scrap field to gather all of this material, you have to sit still, hit these scrap nodes, and then wait 5 minutes. But the trade-off is more BMATs per scrap node.
Hey, I just realized this is also a nerf to scrap cradling.
Yeah. There's two things here. First of all, I like how it actively discourages people from sitting in a scrap field all day because they're gonna get bored. They're gonna get bored sitting there.
Hey, bro.
He
Honestly,
died again. Wait,
They're gonna get bored
Is he
sitting
almost
there.
did I die?
no, you're back
You're
now.
alive.
Well, I mean, as somebody who's done that before, who prefers doing the logistics and like experiencing just sitting there in a scrap field all day, I mean, in BLD we have a few guys that's what they do. I mean, we had Toby hit the components yard for 36 some odd hours straight, maybe even more for a campaign, and then you have several other members that just that's what they do. Like, it's an aspect of the game, or it was up until this experimental implementation of just giving people BMATs. Like, the fact that they were in the scrap field all day, yes, seems boring, and like it would be boring to some people, but they don't have to be there. The people that stood there all day were the people that essentially kept the game going. Because I mean, if you have a guy in a scrap field just constantly hitting those nodes and pumping out BMATs, you're able to make weapons, make ammo, build defenses, properly just fortify towns that normally if you're like, we need BMATs, the drivers, the distributors in the areas, the people that are manufacturing need to go and get the scrap nodes, and it just adds an entire layer of confusion
Depth
and
to
chaos.
Foxhole.
Yeah, it just
There's a certain depth to Foxhole that I haven't really seen in any other shooter game.
yeah, it just in my experience, it's funny to see that like 1 second it's like I need rifle ammo to go to this outpost, and that's like okay, I'll just go make some. But I don't have any BMATs, I ran out of gas, or like there's just so many things that can go wrong that would take like one box of rifle ammo to an outpost into like a 30-minute adventure. Because you're like, and then people are just like, we don't have any ammo. What are we? They're just getting punched in the face by wardens or colonials alike, and it's interesting to see that they're trying to make it so more people will be interested in scrapping. but it's going to be weird to see it change because we've been doing this for so long.
Yeah, what I see happening, kind of sort of from my experience, is basically one scrap field will be enough to almost completely fill your inventory. It ends up giving you around 600 materials after you refine it. So what I really see happening is people finding a scrap field out in the middle of nowhere, going there, mining it all up, driving off to a refinery, putting in some orders, and by the time they drive back to or even if they just straight up refine it and put those BMAS into a chest, by the time they drive back to the scrap field, it'll probably be respawned. So if anything, I don't think it'll be like a huge disruption. I think people are just going to adapt to scrapping for themselves instead of scrapping into a chest, which a truck driver comes and picks up.
I feel like we'll see nomadic herds of scrappers now. You'll just like see a scrap field being swarmed by seven miners with sledgehammers, only for it to be wiped out in about a minute. Then they'll move on, and another one, and then another one. Then they'll rotate back eventually. The Great Migration never ends.
Yes. The hunters never stopped until every last scrap field was wiped from the Great Plains.
Actually, since we're on like the topic of salvaging and logistics, I made a I did make a post, but this isn't the point. But what do you guys think, or what do you guys think is a good way to make logistics more interesting?
I mean,
Because-
I don't want to stir up the chat, but harvesters.
I mean, other than that, because we know that's going to probably be something that's going to be a higher tier thing, and I personally thought that maybe some type of auto miner machine, but not in the fact that it would do the entire process for you. That it could it would be faster than a hammer, but a sledgehammer would still be a bit better than it at like the amount it gets per swing. So
Yeah.
you would also like it also do some of the work for you, but you'd still also have to put some manual labor in, and you'd also have to keep it refueled and stuff like that. And
You could also, yeah. I mean, you could also add a system kind of similar to like the nation where you have a bit of a mini game inside of what you're doing, or if you do better at this mini game, you mine faster or whatever. Even just for like regular hammers and sledgehammers.
and because
Turn it
when
into
I
a
had
rhythm
made
game.
Yeah.
when I had made like this post, Mark actually replied to it, and he was actually like uh, saying his like he was putting his opinion on what I had to say, and like how it would affect the game, things like that. And he had also brought up the idea that um, instead of like having all the work, like all the like the time that it takes, having it be where the what is it where you scrap stuff, the scrap node, but where it could be actually when you take it to the manufacturing plant, to where it might take a bit, so then you can do other things while you wait. And not to say that that is what they're going to do, but that was something that he had put out there on when he had replied to this, and I thought that it was an interesting idea because instead of like having to do or having to wait like or well, I mean, sit at a scrap node for like a few hours just gathering scrap, you could take it like in a few swings, like because he had said that like just do it really fast, and then the waiting process happens at the plant actually. So then while you're waiting for that, you can do other things.
That'd
It
be
might be
interesting.
interesting to also require it to use fuel, in which case you'd have to come by and refuel all of your farmer or your farming scrap farmers. So it still creates things, and now you're moving around the map. So now you need to gather fuel consistently, which means that you now create a sort of caravan route,
Almost
moving
So
from
like
many
one
ambushes
region to the
to be
next.
had.
checking the sulfur back when it was first implemented, something along that line.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll go into the game balancing items if you guys are finished with talking about logistics, because I know
There's one thing I wanted to say real quick.
Yeah.
Actually, I think this is a really good change. I'd like to see it hit the release if it can. Hopefully, it won't throw too big of a wrench in things. There is one situation that I see this actually being a problem, and that is at the very beginning of a very intense, high population clan war, where you really need a steady stream of scrap because everyone's going for scrap to get trucks as soon as they can, and it's gonna suck balls if you can only get like that little bit from that first thing, and then suddenly like maybe one or two clans have scrap and everyone else is just SOL for 5 minutes, which is a long time at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, it's gonna really need to open up a window of communication for the groups.
I wanted to bring up one more thing about like making logistics interesting. Brute Force actually had suggested this, and I thought it was interesting. It was a way of like battle salvaging, to where you know how you can already take weapons and things to manufacturing plant and salvage them, but this would work to where you could compress all those weapons into one like pile of salvage and then take it, and or like if there's an enemy vehicle, instead of them just disappearing now, like they do now, it could stay there, and you could either like maybe in the future like take it back and repair it and make it a new one, or you could take it back and scrap it, so then you can use it to make other things.
We
And
just need tow trucks.
yeah,
It would
And
make
things
that
like-
interesting because then you'd have this hybrid class of players who aren't logistics people, but they're not frontline people either. They're just like scrappers that travel in between.
Scavengers.
I love it. I
It
love
would be- It
scavenging.
would be
Yeah.
an interesting thing. It would cause strain on the server, but I'm not sure if this has been suggested. But when a vehicle is completely destroyed on the field, the carcass remains. The carcass stays, and you can hit it with a hammer and get scrap out of it.
That would be awesome.
Or beam.
he had also said like maybe it being a new tool, like a blowtorch, to do that. But I mean, we still need uses for other things, because there's some tools that are in the game now that only have
Just
like
use the wrench
one or
for
two.
it. Wrench.
Yeah.
Or maybe you could drive the
And he also
construction
had
vehicle
brought
up and hit it.
He had also brought up, oh yeah, the construction vehicle. But he had also brought up like I guess this kind of ties into like the vehicle carcasses, but a rubble type thing where, during the course of a battle, these rubble piles will form, like depending, I guess, on the how long the battle goes on, how many people are in it. I
From
don't.
destroyed buildings. Right?
Yeah, things like that, I would assume. And so you could get salvaged that way as well. And then he had also had the same idea as like an auto miner that you'd have to maintain, but it wouldn't be like your main source of scrapping, but pretty much.
What if auto miners damage themselves over time, so you need to be consistently repairing them in order to keep them working?
Hmm.
That's not a terrible idea.
Just like a herd of auto miners, and you're like, I'm the rancher. I make sure that they're
Yeah.
they're still producing.
Go out to your pastures, tend to your auto miners.
Old Bessie has been in the family for
Miner
about 3
Simulator,
days
fun
now.
stuff.
All right, so I think that's essentially it for the logistics part. Going down the line, passive defensive structures have an increased ramp-up time before firing on enemies. That's going to really change the way that firefights happen. Instead of just walking into a foxhole,
That's
it's going to take a
good.
moment to like actually engage in combat, so you'll have a moment to react.
I'm actually
Basically,
that was actually part of
one in the dark.
that was actually part of not that it was my singular like suggestion, but other people had said it too. I guess just that me making the document and putting that suggestion people had brought up numerous times into like a document so then they could see, because he had talked about it, and so it's actually pretty cool now that they're gonna try it out and see how it works.
Yeah, and I'm happy about that too, because there were definitely times in the game where I felt like, okay, I was far enough from that foxhole. It shouldn't have shot me at that distance, or like I wasn't traveling straight at it, so why is it shooting me? But also, it mitigates sometimes. My internet out here can be shoddy at times, so it does mitigate some of the the lag that you experience if you're traveling in game and then suddenly skip forward and then you suddenly happen to skip into the line of sight of a foxhole and you're
Oh,
instantly
yeah.
shot and
Yeah,
bleeding
no.
and on the ground. So it definitely helps out with that, and I don't think it devalues the foxholes any
No.
significantly to the point where we would stop using them or anything. So
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how it works with the frag grenades. Granted, this says that their distance has been decreased by 30%, which is good because there were times when I would just be standing there and out of nowhere a frag grenade would just plop at my feet. I'm not sure if it's because I moved out from behind a tree or not, but it was just always frightening to see a frag grenade fly through the air. This is a large one. This is huge. The gun turret will no longer target infantry units.
Thank God.
It'll also, so this will make it more important to put other defenses near it.
Yeah, exactly.
Rip George Zimmerman.
It's it's a sad day, but it's good to see that it's not going to happen because like there was a point in time when like the AT gun was just kind of like
There was a point in
push-
time when Pug ruled exclusively, and an individual named George Zimmerman challenged them by baiting their AT turrets to kill like 7 trucks in the span of 5 minutes.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. Let's go on.
Yeah, why you gotta hurt us
my
like
best
that?
experience with this was
Dude,
there was a
self-triggered.
wall in the middle of a field, and a couple of guys were building an AT gun behind it, and we helped finish it, and the wall got destroyed, and that gun turned and just obliterated like 7 people in like 5 seconds. It was just like done. It was just like that. It's OP. It was beautiful, but it's good that that's no longer going to be an issue.
yeah, I would consider the AT gun firing on infantry to be a severe waste of military resources. And
yes.
also, there was always that thing. Again, this might just be lag, but the gun would always appear to fire before it actually finished turning. So
And
It was
I hope the accuracy of them is also decreased a bit because it still has that that line accuracy that just like goes straight in a line right at you. It's just
Yeah.
I hate that.
I don't think it says anything about being changed here.
Yeah, I
but-
mean though in the future I hope they do something about it so then it isn't such a like I guess quote unquote like aimbot-esque defense.
So
I actually just noticed something that I had not noticed before. That's actually kind of a big deal, a little bit. The fuel meter on your HUD now represents the total fuel remaining percentage-wise of your truck instead of what's remaining in the currently consumed fuel item.
Oh, so it'll slowly go down then. I'm assuming.
yeah,
fuel
instead of
total.
that's
individual fuel-
really good to hear.
yeah, trucks
Oh, that's-
work
oh,
and
God, that's
cars
awesome.
and vehicles.
That's awesome.
Alright.
Thank goodness. That's going to make it so much easier for so many people.
All right.
Yeah, I do hope. I mean, it's totally a aesthetic thing, but I do hope they add like an empty and a full sign just on either end, just to make sure, at least for the transition
To
zone,
differentiate it from the sprint.
people actually know that it's been changed.
Maybe add like some little like fuel meters kind of on it.
Exactly. That's
Just
Yeah.
I guess quality of life type things. But then again,
UI interfaces.
Those will probably come-
later. Yeah.
later on or soon enough.
Do you know where the matches went?
And we'll I guess we can go on to the player profiles. Not even though there isn't really much to them right now, but
Yeah,
they're there.
It's just the basic profiles. They're implementing them into the game just to give that user interface vibe, allowing people to become more personal with the game.
Yeah, and for early access, I think it's definitely important, just because it gives everyone who at that point have put money into the game to actually customize it and have some attachment to the game outside of just, oh,
I can't wait to put
I
50
won a war
different
last
medals
week.
on my chest.
do
I'm gonna get all the medals.
Get all the hats.
I get one for bonsai charging?
Ooh, that would be fun. Kind of terrifying. though.
Ooh.
I haven't seen a
Oh,
lot
I-
of sticky bomb
Do I
charging
get a medal
recently.
for gassing 20 colonials at once?
Hmm.
I hope I get a
Can I
medal for
get
gassing
a
people.
medal for punching like I don't know like 20 people in the same round
Yes,
or in the same
Jordan Zero.
war?
The brawler medal, yeah, it would be sweet.
I've actually got something to add on to this once we get to that thing later that I'd sent you earlier, Tiberius.
Yeah, I was actually interested about that. Should I throw it up so you can
I'd
explain?
like to save that towards the end if there's anything else major you want to talk about.
All right.
Oh, I could
Yeah.
add
I
something
mean, we
that I should have mentioned it earlier, but I just forgot to. But I think Mark had, yeah, he had said it. I think in the Foxhole, in the actual Discord, not our personal one for this stream, but I think he had said something about because somebody was asking like why, what was their thought process for going into making like scrap like it being there more, and he was talking about how that since they know scrapping and things like that is like kind of a boring process, they want to kind of that's I guess it's kind of like setting up the idea that they want to rework it to make it better and more interesting. I just
Yeah.
thought that was something to put out there
Yeah.
so then
As
people
it
would
is,
know.
scrapping isn't necessarily more interactive now, but I feel like we can get more scrap without needing to like just go everywhere or like really cheese all over the scrap field. Now it promotes more like just having 2 or 3 scrappers in one place, and then they sort of move throughout the map to different areas. It honestly reminds me a bit of the way of how Viper used to do things, because he would grab a load of scrap, start an order, go back, scrap more. By the time the order was done, he'd have enough scrap to start the next order, and then it just sort of keep repeating itself ad infinitum. As it is, this promotes a sort of cycle of scrapping as opposed to just scrapping until time ends.
Yeah. And I mean, that may change a lot of people's playstyle because I know a lot of people that just jump online to scrap.
Well, I mean,
They feel like they can help the team out by just listening to music. Somebody had mentioned just pop in some music and just go at it. I mean, you may not like it, but they do. And it doesn't degrade their character because you're getting mats in the end.
True, but there aren't necessarily enough people scrapping. This this is just allowing more people to scrap without having them get burnt out on the game. And whereas
Yeah.
some people might get a little bit burnt out, it's not like we have a new mini game for scrapping, or you can only hit scrap for like 30 seconds once every 10 minutes. You can still move across the fields. This promotes scrappers to do at least a little bit more, and we can get more resources out of it. Gather rate's been increased 300% off of one sledgehammer hit. We managed to get 20 scrap. That means that one scrapper can now do far more than they used to be able to. We can actually build equipment as opposed to just having to spam out a whole bunch of spawn supplies and hope that we don't need any medical equipment.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
Shall
I like
proceed,
building, so
or-
yeah. So just basically gonna go through everything really quick. You guys talked about the fuel, the camera angle. It's a user interface, life change. Gonna be good for people, so you don't have to worry about using your mouse. Sometimes people that play on laptops experience it. You can change your camera while driving, which is really good. Stockpile has been reworked, mainly putting everything together that's close together. So rifle ammo is going to be with the rifles. Equipment like wrenches, sledgehammers, and hammers are going to be clumped together at the bottom. I looked at it in the dev branch. Squad members can now unlock squad claim trucks, which is a huge problem
Thank you.
that I found
yes.
up until this point. I'm glad that they fixed that. It's huge. Like the simple fact that I'd be driving along and be like, oh, hey, look, this guy needs a ride. Oh, wait, it's not my truck. I can't unlock it. Oh my god. Fix the bug caused by ammo to sometimes not reload, even though the animation plays. That was a
Oh,
huge thing in
yes.
combat. You run around the corner, think you have like shotgun shells or SMG ammo in your magazine. Nope, nothing. Not a
Yeah, I
thing.
actually kind of convinced myself at some point, just like so I wouldn't get as angry as like it being a case of, I guess like my weapon quote unquote jamming or like my guy like panicking if there's a bunch of enemies in front of him.
It
Just so I could
normally
like kind
happened
of
if you.
lie to myself.
The most often times that it happened was when you pressed R like repeatedly. So it does make sense that it's because you panicked, because if you press R twice, usually that's when the bug happens most often.
Yeah, exactly. Or you change your weapon
Huh.
quicker.
So it almost does seem like a gun jamming issue.
That's funny. Rifle ammo can no longer be used to load frag grenades. That I didn't know that was a thing. That's kind of
Wait, wait, what?
That was a
Yeah,
bug.
Yeah, I did not know that.
that is.
I'm glad
Alright,
you
thank
looked
goodness that
into
got
that.
fixed.
Yeah.
Aw,
That-
wanted to
That
that
explains some bug
sentence.
reports we were getting.
Oh god damn.
Bug reports are always a wonderful thing to
Yeah, they
speak
are.
aloud.
I like how the gun nest can now be suppressed even when throwing the grenades. That's good. Keep those things from flying through the air because I hate frag grenades with a burning passion. Oh, speaking of which, they've been increased by 25% cost to make, which is good. That way,
fair enough.
yeah, I mean, we're going to be able to throw them over 150% of the distance now, or something along
I've
that
always
line. Oh,
loved
yeah.
frag grenades. I remember at one point just walking up Battler's Crown and throwing a solid 100-something grenades in the span of 10 minutes.
Yeah. And the last thing would be text chat mute on the player screen now works again, so you can stop hearing that click 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 click. I'm pretty sure that's what that means.
No, this is what is it?
Or is it?
For actually muting certain people.
Oh, really?
I think
Oh, wow. Okay.
So now you can stop hearing the stupidity.
it might be that, or it might be the sound. I'm not sure.
Sometimes display.
Either way, it's
I
good.
know that the graphic was. It
What?
did mute them, but it didn't look like it. So people were getting confused.
Oh, he died again.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's interesting because I'm going to be throwing up the image that he put in. I'm not exactly sure, Duke, what this is in regards to. I think I have a kind of an idea, but
I'm assuming it has to deal with the APCs.
yeah.
I just picked Endless Shore as the map just off the top of my head.
I'm guessing. Oh, is this in regards to like coalition or squad requests? So you can put these out in the field and be
A
like,
little bit. Basically,
That's what I interpreted it to be, kind of just like a mission objectives or
What-
squad requests or something like that.
So before they
Before they
They re.
Of course, the one person that needs to explain this is the guy that's gonna go robot.
I'm assuming that's pretty much what he's saying. They're like squad list, or like squad requests, things like that. Just
Yeah.
so, like if they get, of course, it's saying like BLD, they need like supplies and things like that. Or, like I'm guessing these symbols mean different things.
Oh,
like
I'm alive.
Okay, let him speak.
okay,
Oh, Jesus Christ, I need to hurry this up.
speak the words.
Okay, so I envisioned a system a while ago. I tried to make a write-up of it, but it was getting very, very complicated. And I kind of just got too far into it, kind of, sort of. So this is part of it. A squad is
is pre.
No.
They're pre.
in the balance of the system.
Then the balance of the system. If we still have viewers watching us, it's probably just to see us mess up. Oh no, we still have 40 people watching us mess up. Quickly, everybody
boy,
become
looks
Am I alive?
competent.
Am I alive again?
Yes, go.
Oh my god,
Something
I gotta hurry.
Pre.
Oh
So,
my.
yeah,
Type it,
well,
Duke.
first.
I'll read it off.
Persistent. Am I dead again?
No.
But
Okay, Jesus. Persistence. Squads would be persistent, like theoretically in a world conquest or campaign, they'd be persistent throughout all of that. And you could name a squad to be Pug Squad or 82DK Squad or something like that. Am I still alive?
Yes.
Oh, I
Okay,
get
I'm
it.
going to be
Okay,
asking
so it
about
would
the log in
replace-
case
it
I
would-
just start talking to myself.
It would replace
So-
the
Okay.
Love 42, right?
Yeah, I just threw some stuff up there. But each squad has levels as well. And a squad gets leveled up by getting XP through the ways that you would normally, right? And that once you hit a certain point, either through levels or through number of people in your squad, you have the ability, from the starters, you can make orders like this for your own team. And if they accomplish those orders, if they assign themselves to that mission, and if they're on the attack marker and they attack enemies or blow up structures, on the defend marker and they build structures and kill enemies, or if they're on the supply marker and they deliver those supplies, they get bonus XP. And they also get squad XP. So the more squad XP you have, the more stuff you unlock. It's not unlocking like the ability to make a gun. It's unlocking more stuff in regards to this. So from the beginning, you can make orders for your own coalition, for your own
Level
squad.
ups
Am
make
I still
squad
alive?
uniforms fancier.
Am I still alive?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So
No.
you can make it for your own coalition, your own squad. And once you do stuff on that mission, you get XP for your own squad, right? So the idea behind this is that eventually you'll get enough to have a public order, which is what these are supposed to be. If a player goes, an unaffiliated player goes to a town hall on the map, they can click on them, and it'll give them like a marker on the map where they need to be, a zone they need to be in to get this bonus stuff. And what the idea is that right now clans don't necessarily have a problem with organizing groups. This might help them a little bit, by putting stuff on the map. Not huge. Am I still alive?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. What
No.
this is really for is like you can't necessarily expect casual players who want to be able to hop onto this and hop on from this, like off of this, like play for an hour or two in the evening after work. You can't expect them to have a clan and a Discord and all this other stuff that they set up with. This is designed to allow randoms to coordinate effectively and random squads to effectively ask each other for help and effectively work together. This is where this squad is. They're working together. This is where that squad is. They're working together. Don't have to be in a Discord even. Theoretically, if you're on a mission, that mission might have its own text thing, right? So that you could communicate within that thing. You get extra XP for like healing players that are on the same mission, all that kind of stuff. And
You could also have it so that way missions automatically dismiss themselves if no players are assigned to it for a certain amount of time, so that way we do not clutter the map.
right,
Yeah.
So this is like a way for just random people who hop on. They want to. People always ask, where the hell's the front line? This is where the front line
Every
is, where
shot.
there are attack markers, where people are saying we need help here. And then shit, lost my train of thought. It'll come back in a second.
New
So, like,
players.
you want to hop on for a minute? You don't want to be a part of a clan? You don't have to. You just hop on with some guys. You do have some people you play with regularly. You are part of a clan. You're low on manpower. There's a whole bunch of randoms on the server. Well, this is a really good way of doing it. It's a framework for getting people to work together easily without needing even in-game voice. Even they wouldn't necessarily need outside of VoIP. It's just ways to get people in the right parts of the map with the right equipment doing the right job. And there could be additional markers too, like you could say, fortify this town, and it could track how many BMATs you put into defenses in that area, for instance, and it would do stuff for that. Kind of going off of this, I had an idea that's tied to this, kind of, sort of, not really, but there's a whole bunch of other things I was thinking about for levels for squads. I'll come to that to the end, because it might open up another can of worms. But so I was thinking
get
of
fancier uniforms as they level up.
well specifically hats with feathers in them. That was first page of the document I was writing. But
Sounds reasonable.
so ribbons and medals. I wanted to distinguish between them, kind of, sort of, just because I have worked with stuff like this before a little bit.
Wait, so you
So
could
ribbons you get
earn
for
awards
participation.
for your squads.
What's up?
You could earn awards for your squads, meaning that your squad could be made more prestigious. For example, the 82DK, after accomplishing missions and campaigns, so on and so forth, they could have sort of a number of medals on their 82DK clan squad. Things like
Yeah,
that.
kind of. Here's the other thing, right? Kind of tying into that, but that's something else to add into it. Ribbons are mostly for participation. You get a ribbon for participating in a campaign. You get a ribbon for, I don't know, just for fun, doing a certain amount of damage, driving a certain distance, little stuff like that, almost like achievements.
Dying a certain number of
Medals.
times.
Sure, why not? Sacrifice to the country or something. But medals, check this out. So theoretically, within this whole structure, I'm not going to get into, there are officers within a squad, and depending on how much XP a squad earns, maybe not, depending on how much XP they earn relative to other squads in the thing, the squad earns a medal, and those medals are like predefined, and you earn them based on like a certain amount of XP you earn, based on a certain amount of, I don't know, clan members that have built town halls, or a certain number of kills your clan reached, something like that. But they're medals that are named, like, I don't know, Victoria Cross, let's just say. That's the name of one of the medals, right? That's the name of a medal. And what the squad can do is they can award those medals, however many they get, of whatever classes, to individuals, either directly from the officers of pointing it to people or through like putting up a vote. And you can give you can type out specific citations for those medals, saying
So
this person earned this medal for selflessly rushing forward with a satchel and taking out the key pillbox or something like
I
that.
do like the idea of medals going to the squad, but I think that the medals should stay on the squad because I have just one line for if you have the squad leaders or clan leaders delivering these medals to people. 50 DKP minus.
Yeah, like I think there should definitely be like unit citations. For instance, that's the thing that could totally be something that squads could get overall, and maybe there's even a way to get squads to be persistent between campaigns and world conquests, right? But the idea behind this is like maybe it's just some random who happened to be pushing with you, right? And let's say he's like incredibly selfless, like he throws himself on line of fire all the time. He's an awesome medic. You give him a medal that says like, I don't know, some kind of awesome name for the medal, right? And everyone can see like what level of medal that is, what was required to earn that. Maybe in an entire campaign, only 1 or 2 medals are earned to be given out to anyone, period. So when you see that person's player profile, you see what the ribbons they have and the medals that they've gotten as well from working together with people and the citations they get. Of course, many of the citations are going to be for being a faggot, but I mean, think of all the awesome things you could do to like show, hey, this dude was awesome. He ran our logistics for 2 hours. Wouldn't have been. Here's an awesome, unique.
It'd be interesting to see 2 things happen. One would be an award ceremony, sort of, after a campaign ends for the next day or 2. People who were squad leads or who were squad founders throughout the period of the campaign can essentially nominate individuals for this, and it'll bring up several individuals who had outstanding records. For instance, X individual delivered 500,000 BMATs over the course of this one campaign mission.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds awesome.
So then it sort of narrows it down slightly. We don't quite have to worry about everybody, and then at the same time, all of the sort of squad leads get to also vote, so you have more incentive to have sort of more people participating. Maybe the number of people in a squad also increases a squad's weight when it comes to this vote, or the amount of objectives that this squad put up and got accomplished increases this amount. Something like that.
Yeah. Some other things I wanted to throw in case I die again. So for clarification, because some people, can you throw the thing back up?
Oh, sorry.
We need our PowerPoint back.
So yeah, the whole I made that in PowerPoint. Okay, that's how good my Photoshop skills are. They're literally non-existent. But what it's supposed to show is that if a random soldier goes to a town hall, he can see what needs to be done on the whole map, and he can.
He died.
No. It shows.
Never mind.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
Oh, okay. I'm live again. Okay, so it shows like this to do. Who made it? What the name of their squad is, if they're a clan, and what needs done. And it'll show that if you need to like attack an area, it'll show the area you have to attack. It's supposed to like help people figure out where to go. That's the biggest part, honestly.
Be able to click an objective and make the box disappear.
Yeah, there could be something like a minimize button on the top of an objective, something like that. But I used colors here just to point out like there are a whole bunch of ways you could organize this on a map and make it more like easy to read. It doesn't have to be like a regular blocky arrow. It could be like a blob where the activity is that they need help with, or maybe they draw a circle or something like that. And another thing,
or they draw a penis.
Yeah, why not?
I mean,
what
the
I
thing that
thought
you could
about
do is have a
with,
quest bar next to the map, and so just list off like, put like a location
I don't want to
key.
make it that easy because I'm
also
honestly worried about like spies and stuff like that. So that's why for 2 things. First of all, I made sure that there's a way for individual squads to set their own objectives only they can see, right? And then there's other objectives they can give to randoms, which they think are safe, you know? Also,
if somebody wants to buy another game of Foxhole just to spy on the enemy team, that's fine. Go ahead, support Clapfoot more, you scumbag.
Well, another thing you could have is you could just have just like some basic icons to choose from when you set an objective, and then just when you mouse over that icon on the map, it pops up with the mission description kind of thing.
Yeah, that would be good. Keep the clutter down on the map, because, I mean, again, in theory, It would.
I'm back.
It'd be really good.
Am I alive? Okay, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. The last thing I wanted to
Yes.
say, I had just brainstormed with some people a whole bunch of things that squads could unlock by leveling up, and I'm sure there'd be like a really cool squad leaderboard you could look at that would show
Fancy
you like,
hats.
oh, this squad has done this squad has done that. This squad has collected this much. This squad has killed this many people or taken this many towns. That'd be cool.
The
Generally,
amount of
like being
VMAX
able to
will be
track player
farmed.
stats and then put them in a way that's productive, not a kill death ratio. Jesus Christ. But like, you know, this guy mined a crap ton of scrap, I guess. But the squad thing, what they can unlock, what I want them to be able to unlock is nothing in regards to gameplay. It's all in regards to organization. So what they unlock is the ability to place more orders, for instance. Maybe they can place 2 public orders, or they can place 2 public orders and 2 private orders, something like that. And this is something I'd really like to see. I'm not sure how well it could be implemented, but
Fancier
the ability
uniform.
to draw on the map, right? How do you stop people from drawing penises? The first question, you give them a limited amount of ink so they can make very tiny, at the beginning, very tiny arrows in a direction, or maybe circle or draw an X on a place. And as
Very
they
tiny
level up,
penises.
as they level up, they're able to draw more, and
Larger
depending on
penises.
what the implementation is, maybe only be able to see within their coalition. So they can give very specific instructions on what's here or there or something like that. And the other thing, this is something really cool that someone had come up with when I asked about this. What I thought would be awesome, and turn this almost into an RTS with people, is think about either from a town hall and outpost or maybe an entirely separate HQ structure that you have to unlock somewhere, right? If an officer in a squad with a high enough level could look through radio towers, right? Check this out. Look through radio towers and place building blueprints for soldiers there to go up and press E on, turn into a regular blueprint, and then start building. So commanders could lay out entire defensive lines with being able to see everything, and then the builders could come along and fill it in. Does that not sound amazing or what?
That does sound amazing, and
That
that
sounds
does go in with
fantastic.
other ideas that I've had in the past, wherein a commander, officer, so on and so forth, could have maybe a small suite of abilities that they could use on the map. For example, maybe a supply drop. Maybe you could drop supplies that were in your town hall stockpiled onto a position on the map on a sort of cooldown based upon your squad.
God, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and the
would
thing
be
is,
Randoms getting hit by crates though, falling from the sky. Just
Yes!
crush, and then there goes like 10 randoms.
Quickly, it's time to assault the colonial lines. How will we do it, sir? The enemy is dug in deep. It's simple. We get all of the warden squads to each drop crates. The sky will rain metal boxes.
But sir, won't we give them a bunch of materials that we earned and
Not
worked
if we
hard for?
fucking murder
No.
them.
They'll all be dead.
Not if we drop a single tech part in each, or just a single scrap in each.
oh, I forgot to mention, I guess because it was so basic, because hopefully we'll have this ability in the future, but squad officers with a high enough level, probably pretty low, would be able to like look through the infrastructure for it. Like if there's radio connection, I don't know how that gets implemented eventually. You can like look through and check what stockpiles look like. That would be huge. And like be able to check other status of things around the map from an HQ.
Okay, guys, get your last 2 cents in.
Yep.
I actually managed to say my piece, I think so.
Yeah, you actually didn't die that on that
Yeah.
one really long one, so
Yeah,
that was
no,
pretty
I
good.
mean,
What's my KDR now? Like 0 to 5, 0 to 6?
I think the entire concept that you
Infinity.
just gave us is just it would change the way that the game is played, and it would be like a good change because it would just add such a large dynamic to the community. Being able to,
I see something like it is needed to get people who just log on for an hour or two, aren't part of a clan, maybe even low level, to get them where they need to be, helping out how they need to be. The Discord does a great job, but this doesn't need a Discord, doesn't need a third-party program, doesn't even need a microphone. And hopefully it
Foxhole-
can get people in the right direction.
Foxhole is a persistent war MMO. I suppose embracing some MMO-ishness, if it adds to the game, is certainly not a bad thing. And I mean, you gotta start somewhere. Why not hunt some wolves?
I guess so.
Now I'm going to have to finish that thing.
Oh, no.
Thing.
Now you're gonna have to finish it and submit it to Markfoot.
I know. I hope I did it in gray.
Speaking of finishing it, Tiberius,
Well, everyone,
Three,
thank
two,
you.
one,
I
goodbye.
know, like we say that these things are gonna go for an hour, but we just like getting together and talking. So
We are
hopefully
passionate Foxhole
yeah,
gamers.
hopefully you enjoy listening to us ramble on about shit that most people wouldn't care about, but we care about and you care about. So thank you for being here.
One thing I will mention before we go off air is we're all in the off air channel and not in the on air channel.
Oh no!
Oh,
We
we
broke
broke
the
Oh no! If only they
Ruined
could have
the
seen that.
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
but-
Duke. HB wants you to give him that document. Or,
God. So terrible.
So he
I
can
have to
pass it
proofread
on.
it.
He wants
Oh, so
he
many
wants that
typos.
D.
All right. Well, again,
It's
God.
It's
From
okay.
everybody
We
here-
normally do the proofreading for the devs, anyways.
at the Foxhole
Oh,
Community Media,
God.
we'd like to thank you for
Whoa.
stopping by. These guys are going to continue talking, so we'll keep you guys
yeah, this needs
no
to end.
longer.
Thanks a ton
Enjoy
for
the
showing
rest
up,
of your
guys.
evening.
It's
See you
awesome to
guys
see.
out in the field. Keep up the good work. And remember,
If you are
July
if any of you
27th,
are-
make sure you hit that pre-order or just order in
Pre-order.
general, 'cause it's
buy,
pre-
buy.
I'm pre-order.
Just buy it at the beginning because it's
We're all
$2
buying it.
cheaper, and we'll be online.
I'm buying like 3 copies.
All right.
If any of you are still interested, we will probably be in the Foxhole main Discord.
No, we definitely will be. I'm going to go over to the Hangout channel.
All right.
Thank
Bye,
you for
everybody.
letting us do the reveal, HB.
Don't have
We were happy to do it.
Devs for giving us that